What's up everyone and welcome to what is going to be a fairly short Warframe video. This weekend I had the opportunity to try out the new public test cluster for the new hard mode that Warframe is likely to get fairly soon. And I wanted to put my thoughts into a video and talk to you about my experience with it. In the background we are going to have a little bit of hard mode MOT and hard mode high risk Prodman. Because yes, we managed to do Prodman on the test cluster. So, hard mode, what is it? Well, honestly, there's not a lot to it at all. On the star chart, you have a toggle option to play regular mode or play hard mode. If you toggle on hard mode, it will entirely reset the star chart. You've got to go through all of that again, including the Spectre fights on the junctions. The difference is the enemies will gain 100 levels automatically. So a level 5 mission is now 105, level 50 is now 150. In addition to that, enemies get double health, and both the sortie armor and sortie shield modifiers as well, which is going to be the basis of a lot of my feedback on this mode. Reward wise, there's some cosmetics for clearing entire planets, including ship decorations and some emotes, as well as have a mod drop booster and a drop chance booster active at all times. Now at first, the test cluster, it felt good. Good builds were, well, they still shredded, even though enemies were a bit chunkier, and that was before the enemy modifiers got activated, which to me utterly destroyed the experience. I have to admit, I am extremely frustrated that we spent literally years complaining about armor scaling and its negative effect with scaling health, so clearly all we wanted to have was enemies having double health and even more armor than they ever used to, adding on a couple of 100 million effective hit points on some enemies. Like, huh? I mean, really? Especially just after the corrosive nerf, you're not able to remove all the armor anymore with corrosive procs. I honestly don't understand this decision whatsoever. It feels so backwards. It made primaries and secondaries almost entirely useless because the damage output was nuked by armor. It meant that most damage abilities that didn't do percentage-based health and percentage-based damage were pretty much useless. It meant that the time to kill was just so high that it made everything so boring it wasn't even funny. Hard mode in that state was essentially melee only, because it was the only thing that had a reasonable enough time to kill. Because everything was so chunky. It did mean that crowd control was actually kind of useful, because enemies took so long to kill that they could still shoot defense targets if you didn't have crowd control, and my Nyx did carry me through most of the defense missions I ran, albeit incredibly slowly. I get that this is supposed to be a mode to test your frames, test your builds, and this does push you into meta frames, meta weapons. It just does it by making about 75% of your inventory pretty much useless. It shows just how vast the difference between the power of primaries and secondaries are compared with melee. Because this mode, like I say, is basically melee only if you want even a semi-reasonable time to kill. If this direction is the one that they want to go through for quote-unquote difficulty, have this as a super hard mode and have hard mode as just the 100 level increase. Because I have literally no interest in attempting to blow through billions of effective hit points in some cases. That mode with those specific modifiers is mastery fodder for me. It's just that much, that unfun. Even getting rid of the health and armor shield modifiers would actually be okay for me. Double health without increasing their defenses makes them a bit chunkier without being unreasonable. That Prodman run, those enemies in the index, they have shield, armor, and double health. So the increase they actually get from those modifiers are in the billions of effective hit points. It is ridiculous. Without the modifiers, or with only double health, I would play this hard mode until the cows come home. Perhaps only one mode is not to split the player base too much, who knows, but I do feel like you should have a separate mode. One with 100 levels, one with all of the modifiers. Or just get rid of armor and health and just go with the health, the armor and the shield and go with the health modifier. Because while I hate the modifiers with a passion, there were positives that were enjoyable before those got added. The 100 level increase I think is fair, and should have given a much better chance than it was before those modifiers got added. They got added far too quickly that the just 100 levels wasn't properly tested. Most frames and abilities were relevant. Primaries and secondaries were still killing alright. Crowd control at the higher levels was relevant because keeping them off objectives was good. Damage frames could do damage, but they weren't as nukey. Weapons weren't as nukey. So crowd control had its place. Hell, I even brought Nyx out of my inventory for the first time in months. And while it was slow as hell, she allowed me to control the fight, solo my way through some of those high level defenses, where straight damage frames I was struggling to do so. I thought that this increase in level promoted good builds. It promoted the right frame for the right situation. Hell, even in the Mott run, Alia was running Hilden to strip shields and armor, and I was on Nova for double damage. And that's the first time, really, we've gone into something with maxed out setups that are playing off of each other for a really long time. And the best thing about it, the absolute best thing, 4-player spawns at all times. Solo, 4-player spawns. 2 people, 4-player spawns. There is no scaling based on group size, and that is amazing. My god, that was glorious and would have been so much fun. I would play that literally all day, every day if we didn't have these modifiers. I really, really would. However, that being said, I think the hard mode fell down in 2 very, very big ways. Rewards and integration. Reward tables, for example, are literally the same as the normal mode, so it's entirely possible to get an ammo drum 25 minutes into an Earth mission, or Serration, or whatever. In a hard mode where you're literally you're not going to be without those, you've already got them. Rewards like that feel like a huge slap in the face. I would love to see mod rewards reduced or removed entirely, and the percentage that those were taking up balanced out for other things in the drop table. You didn't get increased endo, you didn't get increased credits, not even the mission completion credits were higher. Hell, even the affinity values weren't any different. Cosmetic rewards for completing a planet were cool, but they don't entice you to stay in that mode and play rather than going back to blowing through the game with ease while watching a film. The other thing that doesn't entice you into staying in the mode is that literally nothing is integrated. It's not like you enabled the mode and the entire level is now 100 levels higher. Nope. Alerts aren't increased. You don't get an increase on fissures, sorties, arbitrations, your syndicate missions. So basically, if you want to play anything other than a random star chart node, you've got to go back to normal mode again, which is basically if you want to, well, play the game. You go back to easy. Literally anything progression based isn't integrated. God, I wish I could enable hard mode and run hard mode fissures. Lith missions at level 5 or whatever, the most burnout inducing thing in the game, quite frankly. Enable hard mode, blanket, 100 level increase on literally everything. Level 105 base enemies in a Lith mission. And hot damn, now fissure missions require a bit more thinking and a bit more playing. Not integrating literally anything other than the star chart nodes into the mode doesn't keep people playing the hard mode, because people are forced back to go back to standard to do anything that's relevant to the rest of the game. Look, I do think it does have promise, but as it stands, I think it's not particularly fun, mostly because of the modifiers, and it's not going to hold people's attention for more than the time it takes to finish the star chart, get the cosmetics and the mastery. Implemented properly though, and I am meaning introducing all of the game modes and all of the game systems into it, maybe setting it so that your Lich can come after you anywhere and at any point, even if the thralls only show up on their owned planets, to incentivize you to go after the thralls. Zanuka and G3 are constantly mad at you. Bring back the Night Watch Grenier, have one of them have the twin heck that we've seen for years, that you can only get a drop from the Night Watch. Have there be a chance that acolytes come after you. Use game mechanics, enemies we've seen in game already, not only to increase the difficulty, but increase the chaos, increase the reward for staying and playing in that mode. rather than going down the easy road of giving the enemies a couple of 100 million effective hit points. Done right, I think this mode could be a blast, but this just wasn't something I enjoyed, sadly. Let me know your feelings if you got to try out the test cluster, what your hopes are for the mode in the comments below. But for now, I hope you have a great day, and I shall catch you in the next video.